Welcome to the F1 2025 preview show official. Is it official?
Yeah, let's
we'll
go
call
official.
it official.
We'll go official.
Here with Sam Dimler, aka Wold and we're going to let you know what we think of the 2025 grid. Sam, professional karter. I do a lot of sim racing.
Yeah.
We're going to start with the Constructors' Champions, which I feel like they don't get any credit for.
No, I mean, it's definitely been underplayed. Like, to win the Constructors' Championship is such a big thing at the moment, and they've done it, and like you said, they're not getting the credit for it. So it'd be nice to see them like at the start of the pit lane or the end of the pit lane, really, because they get the choice.
I've got a few thoughts on it, because like we will both remember like McLaren winning Constructors like around like 99, 2000, I think like around that time, maybe 98, 99. You were a McLaren fan, and sometimes it was Coulthard or Hakkinen or whoever, but you're Raikkonen, but you're a McLaren fan. And I feel like now people are more, I'm a Lando fan, I'm a Piastri
people
fan.
are more driver fans than team fans, whereas like you're saying, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was teams and then drivers. It's probably more to do with like the social media side now.
Don't think McLaren will be getting the credit, but Oscar Piastri, at times in his rookie season, I was saying looks more in control and comfortable with himself than Lando Norris. Got eclipsed by Lando last season to the extent, in a kind of almost humiliating way, he's having to give up victories to help Lando.
No, I think Piastri just went through like a bad patch and then exaggerated. It kind of coincided exactly when Lando went through a good patch, it made the gap even bigger. And you can see it towards the end, once Lando was out of the championship, Piastri caught all the way back up and was in fact beating him towards the end.
Yeah, but if McLaren, based on where we've finished the season, and we know Verstappen finished strong, we're getting to Verstappen, is it reasonable for some to say Piastri is my favourite to win?
I think it's unreasonable, but I don't think it's unreasonable for him to be the best out of two McLarens.
Yeah, we'll get on to Lando, because Lando kind of locked in at some stage. Really interesting season for Lando, because got his first victory and some more. Has this reputation of bottling it. Before he was bottling kind of race wins. Yeah. And now it's like Lando will bottle the first corner. Like that's almost his trademark. Do you think that? And I feel like that he's the sort of person that will annoy him.
What do you mean, like paying back?
Yeah.
I think it will. I mean, it's always going to. If you have a reputation for something, until you can break that, you're always going to be in the back of your mind.
Going on to Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, won at Monaco last season, incredible. Won at Monza as well. Is it going to be the time where it's not going to be acceptable to win a few races in the year and Ferrari need to really be fighting for the championship?
I think this year is probably going to be their best chance to win 2025. Yeah, 2025 is going to be their best chance to win before new regs come in, because Ferrari always seem to end up managing to drop the ball when new regs come in. Always do. He's
had since 21, 22 was terrible for him, 23 was terrible for him, and 24 he's won a couple of races. I think in people's heads, we think of it, he's had the same as 22, 23.
Yeah.
So on that here, we move on to Hamilton. Do you think he's just going to get overshadowed by Leclerc? That's a big risk here, and that's a big risk to legacy, I think.
I think this season here could be the one which actually dictates how he ends his career. Like, is he going to go out on a high? Like, yes, I'm still the best driver, still beating Leclerc, who's highly rated, or is he just going to like fade into distance?
Going on to Verstappen, I mean, this is to go, five time
consecutive. For me personally, I think this will be Red Bull's last year of actually dominating.
I just think with Adrian Newey leaving at this moment, that is terrible news on the direction of their regs. And like, if he'd been there to kind of like guide them into the new regs, what do you think about Verstappen in terms of mentality? Is he going to go after Hamilton in terms of titles, Schumacher in terms of titles? Do you think that might be something that he really wants to go for that 8?
I think he definitely wants to be a record holder. He would have given up ages ago and taken up his other hobbies, like the GT3 team he runs.
Yeah. Sim
racing, iRacing, stuff like that.
So his teammate is going to be Liam Lawson. So how do you rate Liam Lawson then?
It's hard to tell, because obviously he's only done 11 races, I think. But then that's more than Albon had when Albon jumped into Red Bull from Toro Rosso. So they're on I don't know how to judge him, but I'm going to judge him with how I think Albon was in his half a season. And I personally think that Albon was a better driver than Lawson.
I think Albon was a better driver, but I think Lawson is much more mature.
Much more mature, and probably, I don't think he's as good as a driver, but I don't think he's going to be pushed over as easy as Albon. Albon, I thought, was faster, but he'd back out, not bottle it, but back out.
I think Albon was second-guessing things, and he lost that confidence, which he definitely regained at Williams.
Whereas I think Lawson is probably more like, let's just send it.
Right, going on to Russell next. So he's now the team leader at Mercedes. Looked really strong at times this season.
Also didn't look really strong
Yeah,
at times as
inconsistent.
well.
Yeah, which you can get away with when you're younger.
Russell really needs to make a stand this season to show that he can be a good team leader.
Yeah.
And a race winner and a championship.
Maybe someone's going to bring it all together, and maybe it's going to be where you feel most comfortable. At Schumacher, Ferrari, the whole team's around him. Hamilton goes to Mercedes, whole team around him.
With Hamilton leaving, George kind of like relaxed a bit. Like, we don't know, like, was George pushing himself like Rosberg did to beat Hamilton, and that's why he sometimes made the mistakes?
It's interesting, the mentality there, because if you're partnered with a 7-time, you can push it, but it's okay if you're not as fast in a way.
Yeah.
Because he's a 7-time. But now you really can't afford to be slower than Kimi, who's his teammate. So we're going to Kimi Antonelli. One of the big teams putting a rookie in their seat. We haven't seen McLaren do that. We haven't seen Ferrari do that.
Remember Hamilton in McLaren? He was a complete rookie.
Yeah, so I don't think
that's the closest you're going to get.
I don't think Mercedes are getting enough credit here for putting Kimi straight in.
Yeah, there's a lot of balls going on.
Yeah.
But his testing hasn't been spectacular. Massive crash at Monza, flying underneath the radar.
Do you think he could be vulnerable? Because that seat is so valuable.
Yeah, I think that's the second most at risk seat, in my opinion, on the grid.
Well, let's go on to Lance Stroll, who is the opposite of most at risk seat. You know what, I don't even want to spend any time on Lance Stroll. Let's go on to Fernando Alonso. Still looks dedicated, still looks hungry, but we know that Alonso has a time limit in teams. He seems to just irritate the team, get irritated by the team over a period of years. And we're getting to that stage at Aston Martin where he's going to be there.
And he must be thinking when he signed a contract 2 or 3 years down the line, I should be challenging for titles. Whereas now they've dropped behind the end of it, they've dropped behind Renault.
I think Fernando Alonso really wants to race in Formula One. He wants to be on the grid and he wants to race F1 as long as possible. And after that, he's just going to keep racing and endurance and whatever. And this is the safest seat because he's always going to beat Lance Stroll. And because they're going to have Lance Stroll, as long as Lawrence Stroll owns a team, they're going to need that balance of experience and someone who can really help develop the car. Let's go on to Gasly. Gasly stock, race winner, had some really good results this year, Sao Paulo, but I feel like just very inconsistent. But how much of that is Alpine being inconsistent?
For the last 5-6 races, he did fantastic. As the car got better, their results improved, so it's nothing to do with driving. And towards the end of the season, he drove so well. It was fantastic what he looked like at Toro Rosso before he got demoralised by Verstappen in Red Bull.
Yeah. Jack Doohan obviously comes from a family of racing drivers and doing motorbike.
Yeah.
You think that he will be well prepared for the limelight and the pressure. And we've seen him at a lot of races and testing as well. But he can't afford a slow start.
I could see Colapinto driving at one of the tests.
And just doing a really good job.
Doing a really good job. And then, you know what Flavio's like.
He's
more than happy just to boot someone out.
Yeah.
So I could see Doohan actually getting replaced.
And you feel like Colapinto might be a sort of Flavio. So next on to RB, let's start with the established drivers, who's Tsunoda. I feel like Tsunoda's treading water because, there was a Red Bull seat available and he's the established RB driver, the junior driver, and he doesn't get it.
I mean, for me, obviously, everyone knows his link. His link is Honda. That's why he's got the drive in the first place. Then he went on and proved himself to be a good enough driver for Formula 1.
And I think he is a good enough driver.
So I generally agree. I think he is a good enough driver, but he got into Formula 1 because of Honda. Honda have now gone to Aston Martin. I could see him replacing either Stroll or Alonso for next year when it becomes Honda, if Stroll goes to Valkyrie or if Alonso's out.
The interesting thing about that is I feel like Tsunoda's in a position it's not make or break for him. If he goes to Aston, it's going to be because of the Honda connection. That's going to put a lot of weight. So I just don't know what we're expecting of Tsunoda here. Partnered by Hadjar.
Yes.
Was he obviously he's been part of the Red Bull family for a long time.
He was a massive surprise.
Yeah, who else would you think they could have gone with? They could have taken their pick. They could have put Colapinto in even.
I mean, the rumours were that Colapinto was shooing for it until the last 2 or 3 rounds where he just kept crashing and then they took him out of it. But I mean, I'm not sure why he's there.
They could have put Zane Maloney in.
There's so many better drivers out there than him.
And Ocon has gone from Alpine. When Ocon left Alpine, I thought he was going to be off the grid.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like a natural fit at Haas. We know Haas like their experienced drivers, and Ocon's definitely experienced, but I didn't see it. They've got Bearman and then Ocon.
In my mind, Ocon loses his head quite easily. In my mind, you've seen it before at Monaco where he ignored team orders not to challenge. You've seen it where he's had instances with Verstappen years ago. So I think he can lose his head. And I think with Oliver there, it's going to be so easy for him to lose his head if all of a sudden Bearman jumps in and he's as fast as him.
I think Bearman's quite a cool character.
I think so,
But I think Bearman will relish making Ocon look bad. He'll know that would be great for his career.
Definitely. Beating an established, once again, in our mind, we might see Ocon as a young driver, but he's not. He's established. He's been there long enough now that he should have a good foothold, and should be beating rookies like Bearman.
Williams, probably the most exciting driver pair-up, I think. I think if Sainz beats Albon, I think Sainz's stock is high enough. I don't think it makes Albon look rubbish.
Really?
Yeah. I rate Sainz really highly as a driver.
So do I. Don't get me wrong, I rate Albon really highly as well, but Albon's had such an easy ride recently.
Yeah.
You saw what it was like against Colapinto when he came in. Colapinto instantly started matching it.
It's a shame that I don't think they're going to be fighting for, obviously, championships, but meaningful stuff, because I would love to see team orders being disobeyed. Do you understand? I just don't think it'll matter too much down there.
So it'd be interesting to see if they can have a fully put together testing where they are and where they can start the new year.
Going on to kick, so they've gone for Hülkenberg, taking him from Haas. I think that was a no-brainer. Hülkenberg sometimes in qualifying this year seems to be dragging that Haas way past what Magnussen could do.
Yeah.
Bortoleto, very exciting Brazilian driver. You know, strong run in F2 obviously, to say the least. But I don't really know what to expect. I don't think there's any pressure on, or whether Audi has sold a stake in the team already.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, he's not the least underprepared. I think that is Isack Hadjar. But I think he's going to be so thrown into a deep end. I mean, if they even 70% like they were last year, they're going to be at the back of the grid.
All right, well, there we go. That's the official preview F1 for 2025. Let us know what you think.